When the piece was premiered, Ravel is supposed to have said, well, this is the music of someone who's probably lost his mind.
He was really scared that it would become his more famous piece.
Despite its repetitive nature, or perhaps because of it, Bolero is supposed to be performed every 10 minutes somewhere in the world.
If I see one of my friends going to a nightclub with some sort of crazy techno music, I think that in Bolero he would feel quite familiar with what's going on there.
The principle is extremely simple when you think of it. The piece is built on a single repetitive melody. Usually music embraces change, but here there's a hypnotic quality, and Ravel manages to move the motive throughout the orchestra. Because repetition also implies variation, otherwise boredom might set in. Now I'll come to the reasons why the Bolero is so popular. One of them is probably its simplicity and accessibility, I should say. The simplicity of the theme makes it immediately recognizable. For some of his pieces, he would try to add an instrument that was quite rare.
You feel he always try to extend the possibilities of colors of the orchestra. He uses multiple instruments that you rarely hear in many of his work. So just trying to have a maximum of possibilities to describe different things.
This stems from a very good knowledge of the instrumental possibilities of all instruments. He was extremely keen on asking about whatever possibility any instrument could have. He could remain for hours speaking with the player of an oboe and or a player of a French horn, asking for anything.
The thing that he had the most, it was this kind of the tools. He had the skills. He had in composition, knowing everything about harmony, about melody, about rhythm, about form, but also about how the instrument could sound. And that's why it made him, I think, such a great orchestrator.
Some people have tried to give a version of the Bolero for piano solo or piano duet.
Well, it's probably one of the most important elements of his music, his dance, and that's also surprising. I would say, first of all, there might be, of course, the influence from where he comes from, this region, the Basque country, South Pyrenees, in France, very close to the border of Spain. And of course, lots of his music, Alborada or Rhapsody Espagnole, all of this is directly influenced by Spain and by the dance of Spain.
Ravel has very much to do with dance. Almost in any single piece he wrote there is a dance. Even like his biggest piece is Daphnis and Chloe, and it's called like a symphonie chorégraphique.
Moreover, you don't have just one theme, but actually two of them. The second one is more jazz-like. That's probably the reason why Ravel decided to give it to the saxophone. You have two examples in Ravel's Bolero when he uses the saxophone, soprano saxophone, tenor saxophone, and as you may know, the saxophone only appeared in the 1840s. He was very keen on experimentation, meaning that for some of his pieces he would try to add an instrument that was quite rare.
There is always a connection with dance, also for a professional reason, is that he was working, he got commissions with the Godebski family, with Misia Serre and there was all this group of sponsors also around Diaghilev, and there were opportunities for a composer to do things that are associated with choreography, with dance. It was very successful at that time. But if you look at the whole repertoire, it's almost all the time the case. I think it's part of the essence of the music.
It's a piece I didn't want to conduct because something was disturbing to me. And when I discovered the ballet version and I discovered the story behind it and the drama behind it, with those different drums, which sounds much more funeral drums, then suddenly Bolero became a piece I could try to conduct and find the way I understood the music.
It was born and premiered as a ballet. This piece would not exist at all if it weren't for the woman who commissioned it, chose the concept, co-directed the premiere, and starred in the premiere performance, Ida Rubinstein. She was a wealthy Russian from St. Petersburg who had come to Paris. She had starred in 2 productions of the famous Ballet Russe and made a huge splash with this magnetic stage presence. And she went her own way and founded her own company. She hired all the best people. Ravel, Bronislava Nijinská, a well-known choreographer.
Bronislava Nijinská va concevoir une chorégraphie d'une femme seule sur une table, dans une taverne. Et elle va donc déployer une sensualité qui va être perçue par les hommes qui se lèvent et qui l'entourent.
Her energy created the rhythm. In this view, the woman was powerful. She controlled the scene. You could almost say that she was the conductor.
Another reason why it's so popular is probably because popular music and jazz have consistently used the theme. In addition to this, many movies, either for TV or for cinema, use it as music. Ice skating champions have chosen the piece as accompanying music for their performance.
Which piece would you suggest as a starting point?
Is there anyone who doesn't answer Bolero?
The fact that his piece is obsessional, repetitive on a loop, it looks very much like some techno or electro music with adding more layers and a great crescendo.
Once you get the impression that you can't go further and that you've reached a climax, well, there is still the possibility of having other instruments. Once Ravel has played on the anticipation of his listener, he decides in extremis to have this modulation, which is like a heavy surprise for any listener.
The pieces are like about 15 minutes long, but you feel like he could expand the richness of the inventivity of the orchestration forever.